Hey everybody, it's George again. Welcome to the page. Uh, I seen everybody like the little gadgets and gadgets things I done the other day, so I thought I'd do another one of some stuff that's in my house. And what we'll do is I'll start out with showing you some tobacco stuff. Okay, this right here was a draw knife. You see, it's got a handle. It comes down and it's got a little hook right here. And what you do is place that up beside a backer and you just pull it and it would cut the backer. The next one beside is called a backer knife. You just took it in your hand and chopped the tobacco down. Well, right here is 3 tobacco spears. I cut the sticks off, but they would have been about 4.5, 5 foot long. And you would take the backer and push it on this spear and down on the stick, and you would do 5 to 6 sticks, depending on how big the backer was, to hang it in the barn. This big instrument right here is a backer setter. You put your water on this side, and you would drop your plank down this side. When you pulled the handle, this would open up. You would push it in the ground, open it up. When you pulled the handle, this opened up. It would put about a cup and a half of water in the ground under your plank. Then you dropped your plank down in there, and then you just picked it up, and it put the plank in the ground. This little round thing here is a needle point. It's a hoop for a needle point. You take a piece of white cloth, any color cloth you want, and you put it in there, you tighten it down, and then old women used to take in like sew designs and farm sceneries and stuff like that onto pieces of fabric. Now, behind this, if I can get it to come out, let's see. Yeah, here they are. This here was a pair of log dogs. And you can see right here, it's been broke a time or two, but they still work. But that would hook to a swingle tree right there. This pulled behind a horse, and then you beat these 2 hooks into a tree. And then you could drag it out with horses. Then when you can see right here, see how it's beat flat? Well, that's where they beat in the tree. Then when they'd get to where they was going, they'd hit it right here, which would make that pop out. And it released the log. You laid it up on the horse, and you went again. Okay, up here, see if I can get it all in there. That is about a 6 foot cross-cut saw. The handles are off of it right now because they wouldn't see it from, in this area. So I took them off, but that's an old cross-cut saw, and that's how people used to get their wood in. Now, that's how they fell the trees. We'll put it that way. And I'd say some people did use it to cut their firewood. I'll turn you back over. This here is an old bean duster. Somebody made this, and I thought it was neat. See the little handle comes down, and they knocked holes in the bottom of an old metal cup or a metal can, and you just put your bean dust in the top of it, and you just walk along shaking it, and it shakes the bean dust or your bug dust down on your plants. Now, this here is it's a bean planter, corn planter. It'll plant whatever you need to plant, but you just open them 2 handles up. Well, yeah, you open them 2 handles up, and it puts them 2 little points together. You job it in the ground, and when you go to close the handle, a bean or corn, whatever falls down in there, it'll be 3 to 4, and it goes in the ground. And if you look here at the wood, right there is as deep as it need to be to plant your corn. Now this is a potato planter. When you got your heel ready, you walk down through there and you just stopped it in the ground. That little foot right there would kick this open. You drop your potato down in it, and when you lift it up, it covered the potato back up. This one here is a one-handed seed planter. It doesn't work. All the pieces aren't there, but I thought it was neat. And one day I would like to, get it all back together and get it to working. But that's just a one-handed when you walk over, and then see if I can show you right here. This little foot hits the ground, which is what opens that up to drop the seeds out. But you just walk around one-handed and done it instead of like this one being a two-handed. Now this one only does the seeds. I got one over here in a minute I'll show you that does the fertilizer and the seeds. Okay, right here is an old well dipper bucket. You would drop that down, you put a rope around that ring up there where the nail is, right there, and you would drop that down in the well, and it's got a rubber plunger right here. The water could rush up into the thing, and when you pulled that, it would make that plunger hold the water until you got it up. Then if you look right there, there's a little ring. You pull that ring, it lifts the plunger and releases the water. And that's how people used to get their water out of the wells. Okay, right here is an old set of twisted, no, them are Tom Thumb work bits. And that's an old-timey curring comb. You would cur the horse or brush the horse with that to get all the loose hair and stuff off of it. That went into a bridle and went into the horse's mouth to help control him. That right there is probably the gentlest set of bits you can put in a horse's mouth. So, we don't use them. Well, people still use them, but we don't use that many horses to work unless you get up into the Amish country. Okay, this top saw right here is a one-handed cross-cut saw. Okay, now I have to back up to show you this other one because it's literally an 8-foot cross-cut saw. And a man would take a hold of each handle and they would slide that back and forth through a tree. This one here is a one-man cross-cut saw. Along with this one, it's just different sizes of them. And I thought, I like all cross-cut saws. I think they're all neat. As you'll see, I have several. Okay, right here is a set of horse hames. Yep, no, let me look. Let me tell you the right now. No, these are mule hames. These went on a mule. If you look, where it comes out of that curve right at the top of the couch, it goes straight up, which were for mules when they pulled a wagon and stuff. And a horse hame up here to the top, right in here, will bend back that way. And that's what they use for horses. I got a set over here I'll show you in a minute. This was an old-timey dinner bell. You would hang that up on a string or a chain right here, and they would pick this up and cling it to let everybody know it was time to come for supper. And it worked real well. And I guarantee if you heard that bell, you was hungry enough to come for supper. Now, right here, let me see, I may have turned again. This is what they call a yard saw or a bow saw. This is how people cut their firewood up in the yard. This here is a little set of ice tongs. I just have them hanging over it. And that's what they would use to carry your ice in the house when you required ice to keep your food cold. And the little set like that was used for carrying in the house. I've got a bigger set over here that was used for like when they drug it out of a frozen lake or something. Okay. Right here, this one has a hand saw over here. And then they have what they call the assist handle over here. Well, if I can find it right here. And that was a 2-man crosscut, but it was, could be used as a 1-man also. Okay. We'll come over here. This isn't that old, but this is a fleshing knife for when people used to trap. I used to trap, and that was a knife that I used to get the flesh off the hides when I would skin the animals. Okay, now I got something here I want to show you. I got to move some stuff so you can see it, but I'll be right back with you. Okay, as we was talking, this is the pair of ice tongs that they would drag them out in the lake with. They're considerably bigger than the other ones and can hold a lot bigger piece of ice. Then right down here, we have an old-timey washboard. And trust me, when you wash clothes with them right there, you've earned a day's pay. This is an old wash tub. And you would take and put that ironing board, for a matter of fact, it's got grooves right here where it laid against the tub. And they would take and, wash their clothes with it like this. Of course, it'd be full of water. And then this little wringer was made to wring them out with. Right there's your little handle, and you had to hand crank this handle to get this to turn, wring your clothes out. And then, you'd have to put them in another tub over here off to the side, and then they would take that off, put it on the other tub, wring the clothes through it, but I don't have another tub. I haven't found a mate to this. Now, they had them as doubles and triples, just like this, but they was 2 or 3. Some were square, some were round. But the washboard actually fits that tub exactly. And that's just an old thing I found there, and it's a key holder. Let me come right back. Let me move some stuff around so I can show you some more. Okay, this is an old set of horse hames. You see how broad this is? Come around and it turns out to the little knobs. Well, that was the one they used on horses. This here is a set of wooden mule hames. If you look, it doesn't have as deep as a curve and it goes straight up. But this is what they put on a collar that went on the horse, both of them. I don't have a horse collar right now. I used to have one, but the rats got a hold of it and chewed it up in the barn, and I will try to find another one and replace it. This here is an old swingle tree, and it's definitely seen better days. But the horse hooked up here. No, the horse hooked up here, and whatever you was hooking up would hook up there, and there should have been a ring on that. But on down there is another one. And this is behind my couch, but they've definitely seen better days. But you would hook to them, and then the horse hooked to that. And these are called single swingle trees. Okay. The other day I didn't show you these things. This right here, the round trick back there, is an antique old-timey road flyer. You would put kerosene in the bottom of it. You take that little lid off, put kerosene in the bottom of it, and it's got a wick like a lantern, and they would stick it on the side of the road to let you know that there was some kind of problem. Now, this little thing here is an apple cider press, and I've actually used it to make cheese. You just get your cheese in a cheesecloth and let it go down in there, and then it's got a round board that matches that, and it goes down in there, and it mashes it, and you just put enough pressure to make the water come out. You let it sit there for a day or two, and it forms up to a round block of cheese. And then you take and put it out and put salt on it and let it dry slowly. The other day, when I was talking about the collage I bought of old stuff, this is an old-timey spoon. See how long it is? That was for reaching into the fireplace. This was called a scraper panel. That's an old spatula's broke, a fork, and a long handle spoon again. And remember the wooden maul I showed you that was for beating meat? That's it sitting in there. This is actually a drawer out of a sewing machine, the old Singer type sewing machine. Somebody put it on there, and that's a cutting board somebody put in. I just thought it was all neat put together like that. Then they've got a rolling pin down here on the bottom. And I just thought that was a neat piece, and I bought it. And, I guess if you had to, it's still usable. Now, I keep onion sacks and stuff because they're good when you're hunting mushrooms. It lets the mushrooms fall out, or the seeds from the mushroom spores fall out. These here is old clamps. This is what they used to use to clamp wood down or anything else they need to clamp. There's actually a set of them, but they're behind this. And see, now, later on, we'll go over nuts and stuff that you harvest. Well, see, I'll put them in these bags and throw them in the river or the creek and let the worst tannin out of the nuts. And you get them full and you just throw them in the branch and let it wash tannin out. That's why I keep them old sacks. But they are handy. Okay, right here, I'm going to show you the difference in 2 types of stirring sticks. If you look, this is it. It's about, it's close to 7 foot tall. But if you look, this one has two slats, two places in it. That is called a lard stick. And when you're making lard, that would have been the one you use. Now, right here beside it is my apple butter stick. It's the same length, but if you see, it's got holes, which lets the apple butter run through it and helps break down the apples. Two slits, a lard, bunch of holes, apple butter, and that's the difference in them. Okay, now you remember the seed planter I showed you over there, the hand seed planter. This one, you put your fertilizer on this side, your seeds on this side, and it does the same thing, but it puts down a little fertilizer as you go. I thought it was neat. It does work. And, you know, it's even got a double bill. If I can show you right there, see, the seed falls out here, and you don't want the fertilizer directly on your seed, so the seed comes out in one little slot, and the fertilizer comes out the other. I'm not sure which one. Man would just have to do it and see, but I ain't got no fertilizer in it, so you won't be able to see it. But that's puts down fertilizer and seed. Now, right here is my antique hand drills. This one, the big one right here, is probably the oldest one I have, and it's just the simplest made. And what it does is, if you want to drill a hole through a board, or you're just building a log house, you took that, and you would drill holes through the logs, and that's how you would put a dowel through to hold them together. Okay, this one here is probably the first twist type, because see, you actually had to undo this to put a bit in it. So that was, you know, like the first twist type. That wasn't one piece. See, that's one piece all the way through. This is so you could change drill bits. And see, this one here, I'm gonna say was the third type that come out. See, they had just started working with this ratchet system where it would reverse and, you know, and go forward and reverse. Maybe it was this one. Maybe this one. This one don't go in forward and reverse. So that was probably the next oldest, and then this one. And then you got the ones like this. You know, there's another one out there on the end, right there. That's the same. I'm going to say that one's a little older than this one. Okay, then you had these little single hand drills. It was just like drilling a hole through a board. I'm going to say this one, being it's got more pieces of metal, right here's the newer one, and this here would be your older one. And you just put a bit in here, and then you just turn this handle, and it would drill down through the wood, and then this would be the next part of it. So, you know, that is my little hand drill set that I've got together. I'm still looking for more. On the other side of the wall, I have another crosscut saw, but now it needs another handle like this on the other side. I just hadn't put it on there yet, but I will get around to it. Okay, I brought these on the couch so you see them better. These are the bits. They're called bracing bits that went into those hand drills. And this here was a adjustable one. You could change the size of it by loosening this nut and sliding this little plate over, and it would make it bigger or smaller to do. I think it does anything over an inch. But if you look, it's got a little gear right there. As you twist it and slide it over, it holds it. That's the starting screw. Then here's the actual cutter that looks like this up here. But that's just 4 bracing bits. I know I've got some more out there in the building. That's just all I can find for today. Well, let me see if I can't find something else to show you. Okay, we're outside now. And on my building there is what they call a double tree. It's got a set of swingle trees here and one over here. And that was the part that hooked to your equipment, and your horses hooked to these 2 pieces so you could hook 2 horses up. This used to be a post hole driver until we got too rough and broke the handles off of it. Right here is some steel traps. I don't know if you can see them or not, but it's some people used to trap. I've got several of those, but I used to trap a lot. Now, if you give me just a second, I'll show you some other stuff.